Hello, in this video I will show you how to put together the resting butterfly gift box, which is an SVG from Simply Crafty SVGs. These are all the pieces for the box. This is the lid, and the box piece are the white pieces, and some panels. We don't have panels for the actual lid sides. But this is a 10-sided decagon box. We have a similar box that's slightly different with a bow. And here are all the flowers that will go right here along the edge of the lid. I've already put them together, so I'll put one together for you. They just layered like that. So we just put like that. And then we have the butterfly. So we'll put together the flower and the butterfly first, so we can get that done. I'm going to move those out of my way. So here are the pieces. These two pieces are for the back. So I wanted it to look nice on the back. So we want to cover it, because when we put this on, I'm going to show you. Those are going to go like that, but we're going to have the butterfly's wings up. So we want to cover that, so because you never know what the back of the paper looks like. So before we move on, I'm going to just quickly go in and emboss these, because I want to emboss these with like some swirls, so it has an interesting look on the back side. So I meant to do that before I started putting this together, but here we are. I embossed it. This is an embossing folder, sadly, that's no longer available. So it's Swirls from Sizzix. It's one of my favorite all time for a lot of uses. So anyways, we have that done. Let's go ahead and put them together. So let's start with the little piece. So I'm just making sure with the texture side up, I'm going to flip it over, so we're looking at the back of it. And we're just going to fit these in. I know it's kind of dark because I have a black mat, but I'm just going to put a fine bit of glue around here. Just be careful to get too much. If you do, just have a little wet paper towel or something to that effect. I'm using art glitter glue. A little goes a long way. I'm just carefully placing that lightly, and then just making sure that I can't see it on the other side. And I can't tell you where I got this paper, because it was just paper that I was given from a friend. It has it's kind of embossed already, and it was smaller, like I think it was 4x6 pieces or something to that. They were smaller, but it was perfect size for this. So again, just carefully place it once you get the glue there. What I'm trying to do is not move it around a lot so the glue doesn't come through on the other side. And I can't see the white part, or the other side of the paper. So I just adjust it lightly and move it around in place. Let's be careful of the little swirly antennae. So this is where a fine tip applicator comes in handy, or like a zig glue pen would do it too. Just kind of get in the little swirls. You could dot it too. That's another technique I've used, where just light dots, so you're not really putting it around. Some people do brush it on. Just make sure you have the right side before you put it on. So I didn't have the right side there. I don't often record it dark, so all for sake of getting things out. And just be careful of hitting these, because you don't want to tear this off. And one more, and we'll So we're not going to add it right away, but what I like to do is get the piecing portions out of the way so I can focus on assembly. It's all a preference, of course. So if you watch this video and you want to do it closer to when you have the box put together, that's up to you, or if you don't want to use it at all. And if there's a little, if the glue goes over too far, not to worry, we're going to glue that portion anyways. And we're going to cover it. That one, it's a little bit, that one it's showing through the bottom. Just trying to line it up. So this will go on top of this, like that. And see how that's gonna match up like that. But before we put it together, we're gonna add these back pieces. Oops, wrong one. Obviously. So I'm just going to glue it right there, and then the other one the same way. If you do emboss, just make sure you take into account the little depressed areas that you have to get glued. Sometimes it's harder to get the, I mean, this is not so bad for embossed. So this is just so you can't see it on the back, because when we're just going to gently fold it when it's on the box, like that. I'm not going to do it quite yet, but we're going to gently fold it up and then just glue the back of the middle part to look like it's a resting butterfly. What's fun with this is that you could use a pattern paper like that, or you could use, for the pattern paper part that I put in there, or if you're one of those people that likes to do like gradients with your inks and stuff like that, that would be fun too. I just happened to find this paper, and because I have a little bit of a stash around here, just making sure this lined up. So that's the only thing, you want to make sure it's lined up before you really get it in place. So that one came up a little bit. That's okay. I just had a bit of a stash, so when I find something that I like, and I just like the way it looked with the butterfly. Yes, I'm sorry about the Band-Aid. I cut myself today, but all is good. Just didn't want you to see my cut. I cut myself yesterday, actually. So next thing we're going to do is just line this up. So this little piece right here is going to line up to this. So I already pre-folded it. Not smart. So let's go ahead and get that glued on. So I'm just going to add glue here. Just line that little the body up. And then I'm just going to gently, as I line it up, I just don't want to pull on it too much. I'm just going to gently fold it up. You can't really curl it too much because of all the paper. I'm going to gently pull it up, kind of fold it. I didn't want to put scores in it. I'd rather just gently bend it. So we're just going to have we can do it a little bit more. And you could try to bend it just a little bit, but we'll work it a little bit more and then add it to the box. But I'm going to do this for now, and then I'm going to put it aside. You can see I'm going to put it aside for now. And these are the 5 flowers. There's 5 flowers that go around the edge of the lid. So I just layered them. The other thing you could do too, just to give you an idea, if you didn't want to use that back yellow, of course it can be any color you want it to be. It can be, I just chose yellow to go with purple well, traditionally there's a yellow middle, but let's just say you wanted a different color. Or altogether you want to not have it, you could just use this top piece and put like a little gemstone or something in the middle. So we have all these flowers done. So let's go ahead and work on the lid. So I'm gonna, this is for the actual, this is for the lid. These two big pieces. I'm gonna put the small pieces aside. And you can see they have little spots to put the flowers right here. So we're just going to add them to there before we assemble. So there's 2 on one of them and then there's 3 on the other. The one thing you want to make sure you have is the correct lid. Okay, so the correct pieces for the lid. So what you want to make sure is that you have, there's going to be there's 4 pieces, 2 each of these panels. The 2 of them for the bottom, 2 of them for the lid. So you just want to make sure that you have the bigger ones for the lid. So you can flip them over and you can see there's larger ones. So we're going to just go ahead and put the smaller ones aside with the rest of the box pieces. And these are for the lids. So we'll go ahead and add these flowers before we put it together. And we're going to go ahead and fold these on the score lines really quick. I'm just doing it ahead of time. I just flipped that back, but we're going to get it back here. So we're going to go ahead and place these in each of the areas here. Again, as I said earlier, you could go ahead and do these flowers differently. Well, obviously different colors, but I just skipped every other panel. But you could always just do the cutout flower and put like a gemstone in the middle. Or you could put a little dot of, which I might just put little stickles in there after I'm done. Just kind of put little stickles in the middle of it to give it a little bit of bling. Sometimes I prefer to do that, especially on small pieces, rather than cut glitter paper. To me, glitter paper, I like bling, but sometimes the frustration of cutting glitter paper is, if it's a small thing, I just would rather use some stickles or another embellishment like that. Nuvo drops or, well, Nuvo drops are more for dimension. Actually, I am going to use Nuvo drops in the middle of these. But I can't do it now because it takes a good 24 hours to dry. And when I put these together, I didn't layer them the best, but I don't mind. If you really don't mind, just make sure you line them up before you glue them together really well. If you don't want all the butterfly and the flowers and all that, we do have a plainer decagon box, a box that's similar shaped and size. So we'll go ahead and, now that we have those on, we'll put together the lid. So we're going to add glue to that side tab and then line up this edge. And then make sure it's lined up on both the top and bottom. Now the other nice thing about this is that you could make this a little bit smaller. Even that butterfly could be cut smaller, or you could do a print and cut if you know how to do that with your machine. So this, I tried to make it as big as possible, the biggest possible box you can make. And then you could size it down. And I do have some videos on how to resize like entire projects down. Much easier to size down than up. I didn't get that lined up. So usually you can just do it flat. For some reason, oh, I got stuck on that tab. So I'm just going to redo that. Just pull it up and redo it. But as you can see, this is a lid. So it's, since I didn't get the measures before I started the video, it's almost 5 inches across. It's like 4.75. But from the tip, on the top, because it's flat on one side, it's 5. So it's as big as 5. You'll see it's pretty big. And I did that on purpose, actually. Because some people had asked for larger boxes. So I thought, well, it doesn't hurt to make them larger. So now we're going to add the lid. So we're going to add the one piece inside like that, and the other one on top of the tabs. So we can go ahead and anchor one piece if we want, or we can do several at once. So I just added glue to this one. So I'm going to show you how to anchor it. So you want to just kind of line up the edge, and I may have to rotate this so you can see it better. Let me just rotate it. So I lined up that one edge onto that tab, and then I'm making sure that the edge goes into the inside tab fold. I'm going to lift it up to show it to you. So right there, so you can see it's attached like this. Now what I would suggest, because it's such a big box, is adding glue to half of them. So there's 10 of them. So we can go do the other 4, or you can do 5. So I'm just going to add glue to these tabs. And be careful with the glue that you use, because perhaps that you have a really fast drying glue. So I only have the tabs up that I'm going to put glue on. So those can just fold down when I do that. So I'm going to fold them down lightly. So I only did 4 of them. So I'm going to start from where I already did one. So I'm going right to left. So I'm just going to go angling it. So right here, here's the second tab. And I'm just kind of going around, making sure I'm pushing in the sides, making sure that this edge matches up with the tab fold, inside tab fold. I believe that's the 4th tab. And then I can just double check. And you can always do this too. You know, you could do it like this if you want to. I just think it's easier against the table. So let's go ahead and finish these off. Glue the last remaining tabs. The reason I do it like this is it's just easy to work with gravity. I mean, you could just do one panel. I do double panel, so you cut out a little bit more paper. But I do it because I have found it easier to do a shaped box like this. I mean, these are not so bad because they have like, it's not like a circle. A circle's a lot harder. But again, start from where you left off somewhere, whether it be one side or the other. So I'll start off right here. So same thing, so just make sure to flip down so you don't get them going the wrong direction. And then we're just going to go around. And you could do it just the first time, just go around, make sure it's all attached, and then just go over it again. But if you want to just double check, you just flip it over. And then we'll go ahead and put this on top. It makes it a little bit difficult to put on top, and the only reason is because of these. You add a little style to it, it makes it a little bit difficult. But it's not that difficult. But to make it easier, so we only have to do it once, here are the panels for the lid, minus the butterfly that will go up there. So we're going to go ahead and add those. So we're just going to add these 2 panels, and then we'll add it to the top. So we only have to do that piece once. And you could, I like to give ideas, emboss just this and not use this. You could also use this box without the butterfly. You could use that top circular panel and emboss that rather than pattern paper. So there's options. You could even put a customized cutout with your, let's say you have a cricket or silhouette that you have another image, like a birthday image, that you want to make this something slightly different. So I'm just centering this. You could do that as well. That's why I like just basic boxes sometimes, because you can actually do a lot with them. I mean, you can, especially, I've added, this one's a little bit more specific, but with flowers on the side. But you could, be careful with that. I just dropped it by accident. Just centering it. But you could add something, a different kind of flower or something like that. You could still use those flowers, but use, you put bees or something like that on it. So it could be themed for other spring gifts, or even Easter, if you just used Easter paper. So for this one, I think I'm just going to put the glue on the actual box and get close to the edge. And what we'll do is we'll end up getting it in place. I gotta be careful about leakage over the edge. I'll get the top panel in place, and then once I have it in place, I'll flip it over and apply pressure from the inside. Really, that's the only way I can do it with the little flowers that hang off the edge, because I can't easily apply pressure from the top. So we're going to go ahead. That should be a blooper. Okay, let's get it on right. Wasn't paying attention. I'm just going to line it up. So you can just rub around the edges. It's going to be better on the inside, honestly. A little bit off there, but not enough to make a big deal. So I got it in place. So I'm just applying a lot of pressure. Because with the additional tabs on the top, although I like this way of doing things, with the additional tabs on top, it kind of makes it bulky up there. So when I'm gluing something like textured cardstock, which I'm using from American Crafts, I want to make sure I get a good lot of pressure. I didn't use a whole lot of glue, but you want to get it around the edge, because that's where it'll lift up. So it takes some time to do that. And then if you have leakage like that, I'm just cleaning it up so it doesn't get on the actual box. See, it's pretty clean. That's the lid. So we can go ahead and add the butterfly. Now you could use glue, or you could use a glue dot or something like that. But you see it's just going to lift up like that. You could go at this angle in between two flowers. You could do it with the flower at the bottom, flower at the top. It just depends on the look you want. So we'll do in between flowers. So you bend it as much as you want. And if you want to use liquid glue, you can use it. Like I said, this would be a prime use of maybe like the really strong score tape or something like that. So actually I'm going to use that. I'm talking about it. I might as well use it. So I'm just getting my score tape. There's no point in stopping the video. It's right here. It wasn't really handy, but it's right here. So I have this, what is this, a 1/4 of an inch? I believe this is a 1/4 inch. I don't know, let's double check here. Yes, a 1/4 inch. So I'm just going to put it right down the middle. What's nice about score tape, and I got this from a good crafting friend that I've actually never met in person, but that's the nice thing about doing crafting over the internet. So this score tape is really strong. The reason I don't use it all the time, a nice thing too is it just tears. You can tear it, you don't have to cut it. I don't use it all the time because I don't have nails, so I have to either have like a sharp utensil, something to pull it up, because I usually don't have nails, but right now I have a little bit. So I'm going to just place it the way I want. I'm going to place it like this and center it. So it's kind of hard to show you because of the angle I'm at, but I'll put it on and then I'll show you. The only thing about score tape too is that I just have only, I'm going to put it on lightly so to double check it's where I want it. It's not where I wanted it. And then, okay. We'll just settle for that. I'm going to pull up these little antennae. So there's the butterfly, and you can see as it's up, you can kind of see that embossing on the bottom. So it looks good on the bottom as well. So you could, like I said, you can pull these up as much as you want, but that score tape's good because look, it's like instant. I can like pick it up. It's nice. I had to put it like straight, but does the butterfly just sit? It sits every way anyway. So I'm going to add a couple little jewels or some embellishments here for the top of this butterfly. So we'll put that aside, and we'll work on the box. So the first thing we need to do, I'm going to put this score tape to the side. We have these side panels. There's 10 of them. They're just going to go on each of these panels. So let me fold it and put these bottom pieces over here. Fold it so you can see. And I would suggest folding it on the score lines before you put the panels on, because it gives you kind of can see where you're going to have to center this. So this has a little decorative thing on the bottom, so it'll show when we're going to just, should be spaced like that. I'm just going to have to lift it up to show you. Something like that. Just put them on consistently. There's a space on the right and left. I'm sure you can see other pictures too, but so we just want to center them through all these sections. So I'll go ahead and do that, and I will be back shortly. So we're on the last panel here, all centered, and I just made sure that it was centered on right and left, and then you can go a little bit further down or up on that bottom one, but it has a little decorative thing. And then I'll add like little gemstones or something like this after I get the box together. So now that they're all on, it's just easier to put them on when the box is flat. We'll just go ahead. It's really simple to put together. The only hard part is just like the lid. You have to reach in. We have a lot of tabs. It's larger. So we're going to do the same method as we did the lid. It's just deeper. So we're just lining this up. That edge to the tab fold, a little bit to the left. Make sure it's not over it. And it lines up on the top and bottom. And then you can just go ahead It's 10 sides, so flip it over. I'm going to go ahead and add glue to this other tab. If you just lay it flat and then carefully lay over the other, it should line up, but this one is just a little bit, I may have not lined it up right, but it should line up. So this one, for some reason, that was a little bit off. And that could happen if you, depending on the first tab that you glue, if it's just off just a little bit. But it shouldn't make a huge difference. So instead of doing like we did one tab, we're going to do several tabs. You want to fold them first. And then we want, for this particular instance, we're going to want to have the, for the one that we put on the inside, we want the texture facing up on the inside. So we're going to glue the non-textured side if you're using a textured paper like American Crafts. So we're going to go ahead and add glue to about 5 tabs. And then we're going to flip them kind of fairly in so we can apply pressure from the inside. So is that 1, 2, 3, 4? One more. Okay, it's just getting it started, but we want them all to kind of go in. So I'm going to do that so I can flip it upside down. Make sure texture side is up. And then what I'm doing is just getting it lined up with one side first. So I got it lined up with one side. I believe I have, I'm just trying to keep track of where I have the glue. The glue, first one that has glue is right there. Then there, and then I'm just kind of pushing in from the side, making sure that that edge matches up to the inside tab fold. And then continue around, applying pressure on each tab. And it's kind of buckling a little bit for me, but I'm just pushing too hard, so be careful of that. So you see right, I don't know if you can see right there, but be careful of that. It's because of the size of the box, and I was just a little bit too rough with it. So you can also do that. I'm going to be gentle going around the rest of this box. So I'm going to add glue to those last 5 tabs, and then flip them down before I flip it over. I did 6 tabs. I can't count very well, apparently. Last 4 tabs. So I want to know where I left off right there. So I'm going to go like this. I'm going to start where I left off. And just go around. So it's not really hard, it's just paying attention and not really, be careful, like when I started I put a little bit too much pressure on the outside. A nice part about it being double paneled on the bottom as well is we're doing it for 2 reasons. One, see this one just glued all the way in. That's what happens when you don't, if you can see that right there, I'm just trying to show you. If you don't push in on the panel as you're gluing it, it may bulge out a little bit. I'm not too worried about it. So I didn't miss it. I just missed a tab, just so you know. But the nice thing about having this panel, I just got sidetracked by talking. On the bottom is that it hides the tab and it provides a little bit more strength to the box, especially since it's so large. I mean, I can make extra large boxes, but I mean, honestly, unless you're going to start using cardboard, now you're going to get issues that the paper's just not strong enough. But with the American Crafts 80-pound texture cardstock that I use, it's usually strong enough. So we're just going to go ahead and glue this to the bottom like we did the top. So after we got that bottom piece on, so we just put it on just like we did the lid, the top lid panel, we just went ahead and added the lid. And you see, you could actually put little, I don't have little panels there, but I think I'll add optional panels if you want panels. So look in the file for optional panels. Sometimes I decide last minute to do that. I'll add some for this shape if you want to add them. And you can add a little more embellishments, or you could do little, like I said, like little enamel dots or something like that. So it is kind of a little strange getting it on. I mean, you just have to kind of get it on in the right place. It's a big box. Because of the flowers, it takes a minute to get it on. So that's all. So it's a different little spring box. Something different. I saw this box and I thought it wouldn't be cute with flowers on the side. I'm not quite sure if I executed, but I hope a couple people do like it. So if you do like it, I would appreciate a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, please don't give me a thumbs down. I mean, that's up to you, but I do my best. And or subscribe to our channel. I would appreciate that as well. That always helps. And I thank you so much for watching.